The first creature appeared at 3:42 a.m. near a gas station outside Elko, Nevada. It was caught on a security camera, grainy, black and white silhouette, crouching unnaturally low, its limbs too long, too thin. For 43 seconds, it stood motionless by pump 3, staring directly into the lens with glowing, pupil-less eyes. Then, it disappeared into the desert mist. The attendant, a 19-year-old named Jared Clemens, was never found. By the time the footage aired on regional news, 3 days later, 3 more sightings had occurred across different parts of the world. One in a flooded village in Thailand, one in the woods near a Polish monastery, and another on a subway platform in Toronto. All of them identical. Same hunched posture, same eyes, same unnatural stillness before vanishing. The media called them hallucinations, mass hysteria, viral hoaxes. But that was before the screaming started. Brielle Danton was asleep on the couch when her phone buzzed violently against her chest. She blinked into the darkness. Struggling to distinguish the vibrating plastic from the dream, she deepened having something about a black sea and a tunnel full of teeth. The screen read, "Mom, 1:16 a.m. Voicemail 1. Her mother never called this late." Still groggy, she tapped the message. Static. Then a whisper, so faint she had to raise the volume and press the phone against her ear. "Don't open the windows. Don't look at them. They're not what they seem." The voice cut off with a wet, choking sound. Then, nothing. Brielle sat upright, the hairs on her arms rising like antennae. Her apartment was silent, the type of silence that pressed on the eardrums. She checked the front door, it was locked. She checked the windows closed, but the sense of wrongness didn't fade. Her phone buzzed again. "Emergency alert. Unknown entity detected in your area. Stay indoors. Do not look directly at the creatures. Do not make noise. This is not a test." Brielle stared at the screen. Her breath caught mid-inhale. Then she heard it, a soft scratching, coming from the other side of the wall. The scratching was slow and deliberate, like bones scraping against drywall. Brielle stood frozen in the middle of her living room, phone clutched to her chest. Every muscle in her body screamed to move, to run, but she couldn't even blink. Her eyes were fixed on the far wall, the one separating her apartment from the vacant unit next door. Nobody had lived in 6B for months. She'd watched the last tenant move out herself. An older man who left behind nothing but a torn couch and a bitter smell. Since then, the place had been quiet. Until now, the scratching continued for another 5 seconds, then stopped. Silence rushed back in like a wave. Brielle backed away slowly, barefoot on cold hardwood. She kept her eyes on the wall as she reached for the light switch. But when she flipped it, nothing happened. The apartment stayed dark. She swallowed, feeling the icy knot of panic twist tighter in her stomach. A power outage. Now, her eyes darted to the kitchen, where the clock on the microwave was blank. Her building almost never lost power, but tonight the entire apartment felt unplugged from reality. Another buzz from her phone. This time, a new notification. Live news feed, must watch. Broadcasting emergency footage from government-controlled zones. She tapped it. The screen filled with shaky handheld video. A soldier helmeted, dirt-smudged voice, trembling, spoke in rapid bursts between breaths. "They don't hunt like animals. They don't move unless they're watched. If you see one, if you think you see one, look away. Don't acknowledge it. That's how they spread." Screams exploded in the background. The soldier turned the camera, and for a moment, the feed showed something standing in a field, 100 yards from the camera. It was tall, thin as a shadow, limbs bending at impossible angles. It didn't move. It didn't blink. The camera shook violently, dropped to the ground, and then the feed went black. Brielle turned off the screen. Outside, from somewhere near the fire escape, a voice called softly. "Brielle," she gasped. The voice wasn't familiar. It sounded like someone pretending to know her. "Brielle, let me in. It's okay now." The voice was sweet, calm, like warm syrup poured over broken glass. It had the timbre of someone who'd seen her once, maybe twice, just enough to fake familiarity. But it wasn't her mum. It wasn't her friends. It wasn't human. She crept toward the window, silent as breath. The voice came again, just outside, muffled slightly by the glass. "You left your window unlocked, Brielle." Her fingers brushed against the sill. She froze. It was unlocked. When had she left it open? Had she? Her memory flickered like a broken bulb. No, she had checked it. Right after the voicemail, hadn't she? She backed away, heart pounding, and reached into the side drawer of her bookshelf. She found the flashlight, flicked it on. A narrow cone of pale light illuminated the window, and for just a second, less than a blink, she saw something behind the glass. Long, slender, pressed flat against the pane like a spider on water. It had no face, just those glowing, lidless eyes. She screamed, stumbling backward into the coffee table. The flashlight tumbled and rolled, casting warped shadows across the room. Tap, tap, it was knocking now. "Brielle, let me show you something." Her body moved on instinct. She grabbed her bag, her coat, her keys. She didn't care if the world outside was worse. She needed out. She bolted for the door, undid the deadbolt, and yanked it open. Standing in the hallway was her neighbor, Mrs. Kellerman, 87 years old. Oxygen tank, always smelled faintly of rosewater and cat litter. But tonight, she wasn't using her walker. She stood perfectly straight, arms limp at her sides, eyes wide and empty. And she was smiling. "Going somewhere, dear?" she said. Her voice was not her voice. It was the voice from outside the window. Brielle froze mid-step, her keys jangling to the floor. Mrs. Kellerman, or the thing wearing her, tilted its head with unnatural precision, the motion too smooth, too fast. Its smile didn't reach the eyes. Those pale blue irises were stretched wide, glassy, like someone had propped them open from the inside. "You forgot your phone," the creature said, holding it out delicately between two withered fingers. Her phone was glowing again. The screen displayed the emergency alert in red. "Do not acknowledge them. Do not speak. Do not respond." Brielle backed away slowly. Her breath hitched. Mrs. Kellerman, or the thing pretending to be hurt, took a step forward. Behind her, something else moved. Two more figures emerged at either end of the hallway, neighbors she'd known for years. A man with a handlebar mustache who used to wave at her from his balcony. A college girl who lived upstairs, always dragging laundry baskets too full for her arms. All of them walked with the same stilted stillness. All of them smiled the same way. Brielle slammed the door shut and threw the bolt. She dragged the coat rack in front of it, then the kitchen chair. Her chest heaved as she backed away from the barricade. The knocking started instantly. 3 distinct raps. Not frantic, rhythmic. Tap, tap, tap. She staggered into the bedroom, yanked open the closet, and pulled down the emergency box she'd barely touched since she moved in: a dusty emergency radio, some granola bars, and batteries. Her hands shook as she twisted the knob, static washing over her. Then, faintly, a voice. "Repeat. If you are hearing this, avoid all human contact. If they speak to you, do not reply. They mimic voices. They wear faces. They know your names." A new knock, but not on the door. This one came from inside. From inside the apartment. From the bathroom. Brielle turned her head, slowly. The way one might turn to confirm a nightmare was still behind them. The bathroom door creaked open. Water dripped into the sink. The light flickered, and in the mirror, just behind her own reflection, stood a second version of herself, smiling. Brielle's knees nearly buckled. The reflection in the mirror smiled wider. Her doppelganger's skin looked too tight, like a mask pulled taut. Its eyes were slightly off, not quite aligned. And it didn't blink. Brielle didn't move, didn't breathe. The reflection cocked its head and mouthed, without sound, "Let me in." The lights flickered again, buzzing sharply before going out altogether. Darkness swallowed the bathroom, but the outline of the reflection remained glowing faintly like phosphorescent mold. Behind her, the knocking at the front door grew louder. Tap, tap, then a new sound, tap, tap from the bedroom window, then again closer, tap, tap, tap from the closet door. They were everywhere. Brielle backed out of the bathroom and slammed the door shut. Her breath came in ragged gasps. The emergency radio crackled beside her again. Clusters forming in urban areas. Avoid reflective surfaces. They can move through. She turned it off. No use, no help, no escape. Her mind raced. What did they want? To mimic, to replace? She looked down at the floor where her real phone still lay. It vibrated again. New message, unknown sender, "You're doing well, little puppet. Don't break just yet. We've only just begun." Brielle screamed in frustration and hurled the phone at the wall. It shattered, and then silence. The knocking stopped. The tapping, the whispering, gone. The whole apartment sat in absolute stillness, like a held breath. She stood there in the quiet, body trembling. Then her own voice, from directly behind her ear, soft, whispered, "I'm in." She turned with a cry, but no one was there. The mirror in the bathroom cracked from top to bottom.